Oh,
Is that Todd?
That's almost perfect.
Holy shit.
Oh man! Someone's winning the beard game over there.
I was gonna say I obviously did get a memo or something here.
Yeah, what's up, dude? Even Salvador kind of has a beard.
Well, hold on.
Hey, that's 2 weeks.
Let's not be generous. Sal, are you on leave? Are you in the States?
Yeah, I'm in Fort Hood. I'm permissive TDY.
Are you doing COVID stuff?
House hunting. This is my new duty station. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, Fort Hood. Yeah. It's not bad. Yeah, I love it here, man. It's better than Korea, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd probably take Texas over Korea.
I mean, I would pick Texas over Korea, but
yeah, just being back in the States, you know.
How many years have you been in Korea in the past 10 years?
A total of 5.
Yeah, I was gonna say it had to be 5 or 6.
5 years. Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah, it was like Korea, Stewart, Afghanistan, Korea, Hawaii, Korea. Like what? Yeah, man. Every time I try to read list, they're like, "You can go back to Korea." I was like, "Oh my god!" Like, all right.
I tried for 10 years to get to Germany. They couldn't do it. Just could do Korea.
Me too, man. Hey, I want Germany. Yeah, Kuwait.
Yeah, no, not gonna happen.
Korea. Oh man.
Oh, we lost Tom. Well, we'll kick this thing off, and then Stuart and I are going to kind of go to the background that you guys kind of run your show. Welcome to another episode of the Panjwai Podcast Live. This is the Medics edition. So with us, we have Captain Todd, who was a medic for 1st Platoon until he got his leg blown off like a dum-dum, and Alex Berner, who was a medic for 3rd Platoon. Dave Salvador, who somehow made it from like day 1 to day 270 as a medic in 1st Platoon, and Tom
will.
Yeah. Well, basically, only because he's like, "Hey, drag that wounded guy to me. I'm not going over."
I know.
There.
I was like, "Hey, bring Todd to me." I'm sorry, Todd.
He's the only one that followed the rules. He's like, "No, I'm not running. I'm not running over there. You bring him to me." And then we have Tom Evans, who is essentially a medic in 1st Platoon because he was a paramedic beforehand, and especially when we were
EMT,
yeah. Oh, okay, my bad.
Don't ever qualify me. Stolen valor.
Yeah.
So what we'll do is we'll kind of go around the table. I'll start with Calvin and give him a chance to introduce himself a little bit, and then Alex and Dave, you can do the same, and then we're gonna bounce out and just watch the thing. So Calvin, give us your 2 cents.
I mean, my 2 cents was I spent a few months with you guys out there at Sparwangar and sort of bounced around. I think just about every place 164 was in Afghanistan. I spent a hot minute everywhere. So yeah, that's pretty much it.
Cool. And you are currently in
New Hampshire.
Okay. Making wood stuff, right?
Yeah.
Dramatically oversimplified it because you actually produce like really, really beautiful borderline works of art. Like, he makes wood stuff. But
I'm jealous.
Cool. Well, Alex, how about
you? I'm living here in Kansas. I was at Sparwangar for basically the whole time, doing what I could, and then now I'm going to college to be a wildlife outdoor enterprise management guy. So,
oh hell yeah!
That's awesome.
I like it.
That's awesome. Salvador. So born and raised in the Philippines, immigrated to the United States 2004, joined the Army 2009, went to Korea, Stewart, deployed with 1st Platoon, 164, Sparwangar, and then went back to Korea, went to Hawaii, Korea, and now I'm in Fort Hood, still in the Army.
So, and I believe you're Sergeant 1st Class now, aren't you?
Yeah, they fucked up, man.
Little known fact, Dave was my in-processing battle buddy at 160.
Yeah.
We in-process together.
Sergeant Ifad Ninsa Hill, sir.
E5P. Hey, E5P.
E5P. That's right.
Not at the
Alaska.
time. Not at the time.
Oh, really?
You-
Oh, that's right. That's right. Because they rushed to send you to ALC so that they wouldn't have to bring any of those
National Guard
incompetent
ALC.
E6s that we had.
Correct. National Guard ALC, the greatest course ever put together by the military.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Oh,
All
man.
right. So how you guys want to do this thing? There's only 6 of us now, so I'm not gonna kick anybody out yet. If any of the other guys show up, we might start bouncing
The
out. But-
rest.
so
Is Rudy working?
apparently he has a side gig, and when we accused it of being as a stripper, he didn't deny it. So
That sounds like
He
a
is very voluptuous in the booty department.
it's not a stretch to see Brandon Rudy shaking it for some some cougars.
It could swallow up a G-string.
yeah. I'm pretty sure he's down for blow if you want to do that with him too. Yeah.
Well, he's also in E7, so maybe not.
Well, I mean, like obviously when he's on leave,
Rules.
God, your
I'm just saying you got 3 days to dry out. 3 days. That's all you need for coke.
The views of the guests of this podcast do not represent the views of the Panjwai Podcast.
Oh yeah, hey, can we cuss on this?
Fuck yeah.
All right, awesome. I thought it was gonna be totally fucked.
No. This is where we don't even care. I don't have to edit this. This is the best part of doing the podcast. I don't have to do any editing. It's just done. It's automatic.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so fuck it.
Well,
I'll
not yet.
drive this thing until somebody decides to take over. Why'd you guys decide to become medics? Why'd you pick it?
I can start.
Sure.
So I was actually going to join the Marines, but then they didn't have like a medic. You needed to go to the Navy and to be a corpsman, and it's not guaranteed to be attached to the Marines. And then I didn't want to go to the Navy because I didn't want to be called a seaman, and I didn't want to join the Air Force because I was like, Air Force now. I was probably too dumb anyways. So I joined the Army, and then medic. I was gonna get out after 4 years, but then I got married. So
Should have
And
gone
I'm still
Coast
here.
Guard.
I can't swim, man. Oh man. Yeah, an islander that can't swim.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you're from an island and you can't swim.
Oh yeah, that's me.
All right, Calvin, why'd you choose to become a medic?
I mean, honestly, I'm a lot like Sal in the sense that I tried to go Marines first, OCS, and then I was denied. This is back in 2009. I was in college at the time. They told me 5'10" white guys, we don't need any more officers. So I went over to the Army, and they said you can be a fighter, infantry, or a medic. And my parents talked me out of infantry, so I decided to go medic, thinking that I'd get to see line time and do something. So that's what I got.
It worked out.
Yeah. I mean, you got the best of both worlds.
Yeah, it was a blast.
Literally.
It really was.
Yeah, no complaints here.
Did you have fun? Did it blow your socks off?
No, I can confirm it did not blow his socks off. I took his socks off.
Yeah,
That shit was so weird, right? Like, did you see his boots? I was like, what the heck?
Yeah.
I don't think it was even damaged. I was like, what's going on?
Well,
here?
it just like cracked his boots in half. I was like, oh, he's fine. Then we cut him off. I'm like, no, he's not fine.
Yeah, I think I can walk on it. Let me try.
No. Well,
No.
I mean, you
No,
probably could have.
no. I mean, it was the other way.
Well, I mean, we could have walked on like the ball of your foot. It was literally sticking out the bottom of your nub.
Yeah, you could just walk right on your nub.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's fine.
just put a boot over it. You'll be fine.
Me and Pirates used to do
You had
it
your
once.
lollipop. I didn't hear you complaining.
Oh, man.
Calvin, we had a question in the chat. Josh Emerson was wondering where in New Hampshire you're at.
It depends. Josh Emerson, are you good looking? No, I'm up in Canterbury, so I'm north of the capital, between Concord and the Lakes region. So a couple hours north of Boston.
So the sticks. Is there anywhere in New Hampshire it's not the sticks?
Yeah, anywhere south of Concord, it's now Massachusetts North. It might as well just be a suburb of Boston thanks to COVID.
Oh yeah, everybody's moving out of the cities.
Yeah, we're getting all the wonderful Massachusetts Democrats that like to turn New Hampshire into Massachusetts right now. So it's really fun.
Yeah,
People in Montana with people from California, or you know how it is.
it's pretty bad everywhere. Even up here, you know, this is at least the people that move up here away from all those places have made a decision to, you know, not be from California. But our real estate market's crazy right now too. We don't have enough inventory for anything.
It's ridiculous. I think we're one of the hottest markets in the country right now. 20 minutes south. You could sell a 1,000 square foot house for $250K right now. It's stupid.
It's nuts. Yeah, the value of the unit I'm sitting in right now has gone up like 25. So, all right. Next would be Alex. Why'd you become? I know why you became a medic, but your episode hasn't come out yet. So,
well, I moved out to Colorado and tried to get a job, and I got a good one for a little bit, and then it didn't work out. And so I ended up going back home with my tail between my legs, and so I decided to join the military. And so because I was colorblind and my test scores, they said you have two choices. You could either be an Apache flight coordinator or you could be a medic. And I thought, well, if you guys are stupid enough to let me work on people, I'll do that. So, next thing I know, I was there.
Next thing you know, you're working on people.
Yeah. Honestly, they're pretty easy to work on. It's like, you know, just working on a truck or a car, you know, just when you mess up, they scream.
You that die.
Yeah, it's easy.
Good thing most of us are pretty dumb, so we don't even know if you're messing up. So.
Yeah, right.
That's true.
Right.
Like, is that supposed? No, it's fine. Like, that's
Yeah,
you don't need
don't worry
that.
about it.
Don't worry about that.
Yeah. As long as you don't say oops, you're okay.
Yeah.
So if you just, you know, just keep on, like, you just got to be confident with whatever you're doing.
Fuck
So.
it. Oh,
So, did you guys at any point did you regret choosing to become a medic, or were you like, nope, this is a good fit for me?
No, I think
Yeah.
you got the best of both worlds.
Well, that's
Yeah.
true. Yeah.
that's if you become a line medic. You know, some medics just don't get to see that part. So
Yeah.
stuck in the hospital. Fuck that, man.
Could you
Yeah,
elaborate? Could you elaborate on that, Dave? Because like it's kind of an important distinction. Like, not all medics get to work on the line, right?
Yeah, not necessarily, because some units want their best medics, I guess, in the line. I mean, which makes sense, right? Because in a platoon, there's only going to be one medic, and you're taking care of like 30 dudes, so you got to be on top of your game. Like, so. And then they normally put you in the aid station with the rest of the guys. So.
Or you could end up assigned to like a hospital and like literally spend your entire time at a hospital, right?
Yep. And sometimes it's not your fault. Sometimes that's where the Army puts you. So.
Right. Now, when you guys came in, was the deployment? I know for Alex, you did too to Iraq before Afghanistan.
Mhm.
And it was your first deployment, right, Todd?
Yeah.
What about you, Dave?
Yeah, that was my one and only.
One and only.
Crazy. Yeah,
That's
One and
wild.
done.
it's crazy. One and only.
One and done.
It's a career maker, though. I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah. It was I think it was an awesome deployment. I don't know. I mean, it sucked, but it kind of like shaped me, right? Like, all my leadership style was like based on that deployment. And I've always told myself, like, if I ever deploy again, I'll be a lot readier. You know what I mean? Like,
Dave, are you going to stick to the plan?
what plan?
Do you remember? You're like, well, let's stick to the plan. Always stick to the plan. I
tried. Oh shit! Remember Lieutenant Kohler? He fucking got so pissed.
Yes.
hi. I was like, oh shit, man, my bad, bro. My bad. Yeah, Nins was there that time. Yeah, I definitely got yelled at. So that's okay.
I don't find that hard to believe whatsoever.
Yeah, it was some mission that it was supposed to be like a little bit longer, but then it was shorter. Then he was like, "You still want to stick to the plan?" I was like, "Yeah." No, let's go back. Let's go back. Yeah, he was so bad.
I mean, it really was like a medics deployment. You know, I mean, obviously it was a great infantry deployment too. You had lots of chances to do your stuff, but like, unfortunately, you guys had a lot of opportunities to practice your trade. I mean, mostly easy stuff, you know.
Yeah.
It's still something you don't ever wish for.
No, definitely not.
It's just one of those things that you gotta do what you can when you can, and just move on. So,
what kind of prepared you best for that deployment? Like what training or what? Nothing.
It was entirely different from the previous two deployments. So, I mean, the only thing that really came in handy was like the ability to load and unload patients and like be familiar with vehicle systems and how to do that. That made evac a whole lot faster, a whole lot smoother. Being able to control the situation was very helpful. We did a whole lot of individualized training with just the medics that were going to Bravo Company. I remember a bunch of times us just going back to Rudy's house and we were just trying to walk through situations and discussing things, usually while having a couple of beers, but we were training.
This is off time, not duty hours.
Yeah, but it would go down to like even the PT, the exercises you would do, you'd be trying to concentrate on what it would be like to load somebody into like a bird or something like that. Or, we were pretty down pat in the platoon on like TC3, going through that. I don't know if we put you through the ringer, Todd. Do you remember that?
No, because what happened with me was I was with the snipers, so I was training with 6 to 8 guys. So it was a completely different train up for me going over Afghanistan. And then when they got assigned, pretty much tucked in with the scouts, it was a completely different beast. I went from just snipers to scouts with 2 other medics. Mm-hmm. And then when I came with you guys, I got like the 10-minute run through the 2 days I was there, then go out on the first mission and Perez gets shot. So for me, it was a completely different buildup to how deployment went as compared to you guys, where you had, NTC, you knew who you were going with. I mean, Christ, 2 weeks up to before deployment, I had the option not even to go. Mm-hmm. Brown, you got a kid on the way, you don't need to deploy. We need to leave guys at rear D. So, I definitely, in terms of preparedness, was not anywhere near what the line guys in Bravo were. I mean, you guys knew what you were going into. You were probably the most prepared company in terms of what was really coming. I don't think any other companies had really any understanding of what their responsibilities were going to be over there. We were a sniper section stuck at patrol base loop doing nothing, they're doing roadblocks, like absolutely nothing for 3 months, So,
well, I think the leadership knew going into it, like they tried to select medics that would be able to at least know what they were going into and had a little bit of experience. I mean, Dave, you were a rising star inside of the platoon, like PT stud. It was the whole package, right? And Todd, man, I don't know what to say. Wrong time, wrong place.
No,
right time.
Well, you had to assess for that sniper section, didn't you?
So Hollows and I were both with the scouts and the snipers, and Brown said one of you guys is going to Bravo. They're going to the real deal. And Holler said, I don't have a wife, I don't have a kid coming, I'll go. So
what are you trying to say?
What I'm saying. No.
What about you, Tom? Did you see any parallels with the civilian sector or something like that?
I would say, because like I've had gunshot wounds and stuff like that, and I've seen like amputations and whatnot, but usually the amputations, the people are already toast because it's from a 100-mile-an-hour car accident or a motorcycle accident or something. So like everything's amputated. You got
to deal with like a systemic problem.
Yeah, but I would say, if anything, it kind of, I feel like for a lot of people, going from just training to that, it was like 0 to 1,000. I think for me, it was more like 50 to 100 as opposed to 0 to 100. So I think it helped me kind of like remain calmer under those situations, because I was kind of used to the whole, you're coming up to a patient and they're very distressed because something's wrong with them, and you kind of just have to put that out of your mind and just do what you have to do to keep that person alive or get that person to the hospital. So I think it helped me definitely prepare for some of that stuff. But I mean, it's always a lot different when it's people as opposed to strangers. Yeah. So that aspect you don't really run into very often in the EMS side.
I'll tell you what was different from my previous 2 deployments. Even with the short amount of time that we were there at Sperwangar, I was way more attached, like emotionally, to the guys that were around me than my prior 2 deployments. So it was just like, maybe it was just the intensity of what was going on, but it was just, it was unexpected. So.
Yeah, absolutely.
On your previous,
I don't know how
did you live with infantry guys that you were assigned to, or did you guys live separately?
Yeah, we lived with them. We usually had like a separate little area we set up as like the aid station, but I mean, that was only just like secure a little bit of the few niceties or amenities that we could cobble up inside of like a bombed out hospital, or we were staying one time in like this shopping mall called Alda Mall. And it was like we were on the 3rd floor in the middle of this like small little shop, and it was just I'd never realized how creepy a shopping mall would be without anybody in it. Yeah. And it's eerie, especially when you got like bombs and gunfire going off. It's just crazy stuff. But anyways, like there was we were embedded. You were there. You were with the scouts. You were there wherever they are at. Infantry, whatever it is. I remember sleeping in tanks, like pulling security on OPs or something like that, or, setting up a snap TC and sitting on it for 3 days. And I'm just sitting in a loader's hatch, waiting for a flaming tire to roll down the street to start the firefight. So it's just, when you're in there, you're in deep wherever you're at.
I feel like with our deployment, we, specifically our platoon, that was like our smoking area and our outdoor hanging area was right next to the aid station. So we were always hanging out. No matter what platoon the medics were from, they were always kind of hanging out with our platoon.
Yeah, I remember Holt. I remember when you and Holt were smoking out there, and then all of a sudden you heard a pop, and there's like a 203 round that just landed. You remember that?
Yeah. yeah, I do.
They were like, oh yeah, I guess we're getting attacked or something. So, okay.
Yeah, cop defense day.
Yeah, good thing that shit didn't blow up. I was like, what?
Yeah, good thing you didn't have the door open, because that hit like center mass of the door of the aid station.
Yeah.
And I also think that was the last day that you guys had the big white and red flag up above the aid station too. I think it came down after that. Yeah.
Yeah, that came down real fast.
Yeah, that was the end of that.
So Calvin, you were a late arrival to Sperwangar. What was it like? I know you kind of briefly mentioned. What was it kind of like bouncing around to those other spots before you came to us?
I mean, like, I was the bastard child in the sense that I got myself in a little trouble initially in the early deployment with the people I was with, and then so I bounced back a little bit to a place for like a month and a half. I went back to the hell's the big one next to Kandahar,
where everybody was.
Yeah. I pulled night duty.
Constitution, was it?
No.
It's like
that's Iraq. That's Iraq. Yeah.
Some big ass place that had 3 meals a day, so it was cool.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
duty there.
Did you go to salsa night?
Yeah.
No,
TGI Fridays.
no, that was Kandahar. We were at the other shitty one. But essentially, I sat there in a holding pattern waiting to go out to you guys, and it was probably 5 weeks where it was, you're going to go Tuesday. Oh no, the convoy's canceled. You're going to go no, you're not going. So it was a month of just waiting for an actual convoy to go out because I was replacing haulers. He was checking out, I was checking in, but at that point we had Sergeant Major who didn't want to drive out there because they were scared of getting hit, and then they didn't have a bird because there was red air. So it was just, I just sat in a holding pattern pulling night duties at the aid station, treating National Guard idiots for tripping over soap in the shower and spraining their ankles playing volleyball and all the stupid shit you do on a big base,
Yeah. Treating STDs out from porta potties.
It happens.
That's like so funny because remember when me and you, Todd, we were in the hospital, we were in the same room as you, me, and Nagurn, but then the dudes across from us were like volleyball injuries. I slipped on a banana peel in the chow hall, and it was so weird, just the contrast between the two, just polar opposite.
Crazy. I flew to Bagram, so after you and I split, you flew out before me or after me, and I flew to Bagram, and I had a kid in the sheets next to me who was in the Army band, right? Who sliced his foot open because there was a mortar attack at Bagram, right? And he was because he wasn't getting a Purple Heart. And I remember ripping the curtain open and saying, just flipping out at him, saying, "You want a Purple Heart? I'll give you my fucking leg, buddy." And the nurse actually had to wheel me out of the room to the next room and let me cool off a little bit before the flight. And I was like, "Where am I? Like, what is going on?" Like, now it was.
Yeah, shit was crazy.
You're just looking at him like, I get the big piece of chicken, right?
Oh God! It's just the juxtaposition of where you are in Afghanistan at any given time. For 3 months, I was doing jack shit, literally doing nothing, filling sandbags and pulling guard duty because I got in trouble. And then
what did you get in trouble for?
What'd you do, man?
I'm kind of curious about that.
So if any snipers are on here, you know who you are. I was pulling. So at Luke, we had to pull ECP duty in a gun truck. So you generally had a scout on the crow, and then I would sit as the TC, reading a book all night. Well, my crow gunner fell asleep at about 4 a.m, and I didn't give a shit because I was reading a book. I didn't even think to check. And we had a convoy coming in. Sergeant Major's convoy was coming in with resupply.
Oh no!
Trying to get him up on the comms, and I don't have comms with the convoys out. Only the gunner does. So they came out and said that I was sleeping on guard. I pretty much told them I wasn't sleeping on guard. The kid who fell asleep obviously blamed it on me, but I'm in the driver's seat. I have no comms with anybody, so why is it my fault? So after that, I would clean bathrooms 6 hours a day, fill sandbags 6 hours a day, pull 6 hours of guard, and then I get 6 hours of sleep. And I did that for about 3 weeks until I finally said, I'm getting the fuck out of here. And haulers was trying to rotate out, so yeah.
What a trade, buddy. What a trade.
The NCO who did that to me, I know he's listening to this, and I know at some point he will feel bad for it, but
do you regret it?
Do I regret going out to you guys?
Yeah.
No, because honestly, that's the job I wanted to do. If I didn't want to do it, I wouldn't have deployed. I had the ability not to deploy, so I guess in a sense, getting in trouble is probably the best thing that happened to me. I like my scouts. I like the snipers. I enjoyed where I was, but I didn't feel like I was doing the job I signed up for. Treating sprained ankles because guys are getting dehydrated fucking off on base isn't really what you sign up for. Not that you want guys to get hurt, but you want to feel like you have a purpose and a task. And I didn't. And I just felt like I was wasting my time. So in a sense, getting in trouble is a blessing in disguise, But it also allowed me to see every place 164 was, I literally spent a hot minute at every single base I think we were at. So, you see the spectrum of what the deployment was and how different it was at Spermangar. You see it's night and day. It's black and white. Down there, it's real, where everything else is, you might as well be in garrison. It's like live training at garrison.
Yeah.
So.
And you were definitely a perfect fit coming over there as well too. You blended in with us seamlessly. So I think most of the people in our platoon were a little troublesome. They could tend to get in trouble here and there. So
I remember him being young and energetic and willing to please. Just whatever you need.
What do you need? What do you need?
Back in Stewart. Yeah.
No, but
I know
okay.
Dave.
You were the
I gotta
golden
clear
boy,
some-
dude.
I got to clear some bad blood up right now. Todd, there was a point where we were in the rear and you were trying to set up a camo net, right? And you had this you were having the hardest time, and I was just it was just a terror of a bad day, right? And I just started screaming at you, and just about how you went to college and it was absolutely worthless. You're a fucking worthless piece of shit.
Jeez.
Dang, Alex.
I was like, if you can't set up a fucking camo net, you're absolutely worthless to me. Get the fuck out of my entire AO. Why are you breathing my air? And so I just want to let you know it wasn't you. And I'm sorry.
No, but honestly, man, that's how it was. When I came in, I was an E4 out of the gate because I had a college degree, so there was already fucking Dizamco, you little bastard, wherever you are,
College boy.
You got all these guys, and I don't blame them. Hindsight's 20/20. I can't blame somebody for acting the way they did, but it was dude, I'm 22. I know just as much as the 18-year-olds. Don't fuck with me because I've got an E4. I make $300 a month and I'll go to student loans, man. I don't think I'm better than anybody. I'm just trying to get by.
Well, Todd, compared to some of the other college graduates that came through, there's a couple of names that we have inside the platoon that I remember one that we literally called him the best CLS provider in the battalion because he, we didn't think he was a good medic at all. So you were head and shoulders above the rest. I'll tell you that right now.
So let's see. I'm supposed to be running this. Dave.
Yeah. What's up?
What have you been doing since Spurwingar?
Job wise in the Army?
Yeah, have you been in the hospitals? Have you been in the line? Have you been what kind of medic jobs have you been doing since Spurwingar?
So our career path. So after Spurwingar, went back to Stewart, did senior line time over there. I think when Burner left for a little bit, I PCS to Korea, did treatment sergeant at a role 2, basically a clinic.
Mm-hmm.
Not in the clinic, not the TDA side, but a role 2 on the toe side. After that, same thing. I got promoted to staff sergeant over there. And then I went to Hawaii. I did platoon sergeant time for almost 3 years. And then I went to Korea. I was an ops NCO for the hospital center over there. And now I'm in Hood, getting ready to take over a surgical detachment on the 16th. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, man.
And what does the surgical detachment do?
So it's basically comprised of 2 surgeons, 2 ER docs, 2 CRNA. So basically they get attached to a role 1, but by doctrine, it's role 2 to the clinic. And then basically bringing that surgical team over there to conduct just basically initial surgery to help that dude out and then pass him off to role 3, more definitive care.
Okay. That sounds like a good bit more advanced stuff than basic medic work.
Yeah, it's a bunch of doctors. So for me, I'm not gonna be there to be the medical SME, right? I'm just there for basically logistics. Hey, make sure you're fucking here. Make sure you get your weapons. Your weapons are good. You're medically ready. You know what I mean? Your ACFT is good.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, you're wrangling cats. You're just wrangling all the doctor cats and the nurse cats.
Basically. Yeah, because basically you're hurting the cats.
I mean, a lot of people probably don't know this, but most of the doctors in the military, they come in at as a captain.
Mm-hmm.
They're direct commission. They're basically they don't even go to basic training.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
They go to a 2-week this is what the Army is course.
There were a couple of ranges where you had to pull them off and listen, you're a 50-year-old man and you're endangering everybody because you're an idiot. So I know that you went to school for 7 years and you did pre-med and all this other jazz. But right now, you just need to not put your finger inside of the trigger guard and point the pointy end at somebody else. Don't do that. And they look at you oh, okay. Okay,
Really?
it's cool, man. All right.
I've always found they were super receptive to being corrected on Army stuff, but they're just like so they're super professional. Like, oh yeah, my bad, I'm so sorry. But at the same time, they're like, which end do the bullets come out of? It's like,
let's show you how to put them in, and then you can tell me what end they come out of.
But the Army can't keep them, man. They get like their med school paid for, and they do their 6 years, and they're like, I could stay in the Army as an 04 and make $80,000 a year, or I could go over here and make 300.
Yeah, I can start out in practice. You know, I don't have to worry about all of this gear bull crap or like having inventory anything. I just have a bunch of nurses that take care of everything, pay an accountant to take care of the financials, and all of a sudden, bing, bang, boom, I got $200,000 in the bank. Right. No student loans. We're good to go. Yeah. And that goes with everything. That goes with PAs. That goes with nurses. That goes with, I mean, you name it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think?
Yeah, they get all their experimenting out of the way.
Yeah. They're like, oh, this is just a clinical thing.
I wonder if that's why they don't automatically give combat medics like EMT certifications.
No, well, they give us
national registry, though, don't you?
Yeah, we do get national registry. They might have changed it now, but we did prior. Like when I went through, we did. They just shifted from 91 Bravo to 68 Bravo, and then to 68 Whiskey, and so they started giving us the EMT basic designation because they were still like the intermediate and then paramedic, and then later on they eliminated the intermediate and then just went straight basic to paramedic, and so. Honestly, our scope of practice was way larger than an EMT basic. I mean, we justified it by we were working with Army property, not with people. So we got like a way deeper scope of practice. Yeah. But in reality, the certification of EMT basic was only just to fulfill like a marketing role for the Army, in my personal opinion. One that they could say, okay, you have these set of skills that you can transition out and do this as a civilian, which I don't think is necessarily, I mean, you could, but you're not going to be set up for success.
Yeah, $12 an hour for the EMTB. No, there's no money.
Right.
Don't do it. Trust me, don't do it.
No, you'll be a hose monkey.
It's not worth it. Yeah, exactly. Use that and get a fire job.
Right.
So what was I'm trying to think here. We'll start with Todd, and I know what the answer to this is, but people watching don't. When did like Spur and Gar get real? Like what moment you're like, oh shit, they weren't kidding?
I mean, it was day one. You know, I want to say
day one for Todd.
No, honestly, like day one, we get there, and I'm trying to think. I rotated in with Dennison, Hedrick. I mean, fuck, half the guys that we rotated in with got fucked up or killed. You know, like Swindle was there, so. You know, day one, I think Sal was showing me the laundry, and we took rounds at like 5 o'clock right over our head, you know, from the stupid idiot shooting at the checkpoints. He's like, it's no big deal. That happens every day. I'm like, what the hell is this place? I could be at Green Beans getting a coffee right now and smoking American cigarettes instead of smoking this crappy Afghan crap.
But you can set your clock to a firefight.
Pack, all right?
No, but I mean,
it was camels for 50 cents a pack.
You know, like you guys are like, oh, we're going to big reggae, little reggae. There's nothing. It'll be fine. You know, like you hear it. It's not a big deal. You'll get your feet wet. You go to big reggae and nothing happens. You turn 200 meters the other way and Perez gets lit up and you're going, whoa. You know, this deployment was fun until now, you know, but it was.
It didn't take you long to get that CMB done.
Get that out of the way.
Well, that was a lot of people's first mission. That mission was riddled with bad juju.
No, it was real right away. You know, I mean, Perez getting hit, you hear it on the comms. I'm with Sergeant Ott in the back. I mean, probably easily 100 meters, 150 meters behind. And he's telling you to get up front. And you're going, do I low crawl? Where do I don't know how do you maneuver out here? In a straight line. Like, I don't know what the hell's going on. You know, I hadn't
run into the weed.
Essentially, but I mean, Sergeant Ott, to his credit, said, follow me. And I just trucked right on his ass right into the weed, and that's where it went, you know. But I mean, you go from operating, you know, up in Kandahar where it's checkpoints, you're on trucks, you're not you're doing roadblocks. You're not caring where you step because you're not going to blow up every 2 feet. Or the second you go down there, it's step in a boot print or you're going to fucking blow up. So it just the mindset or the resetting of the way you look at stuff. It was right away. I mean, after day one, it was like, holy shit, this is real. This isn't a joke.
I remember a specific night, me and Doan sat you down like by the aid station, and like we must have sounded like maniacs because we were sitting there like yelling at you and chain smoking cigarettes while telling you to like step in other people's footprints.
Yeah, it's true. I mean,
that's what you have to do when new people get there. You have to really lay it down. Like, hey,
Right.
dude, like this is no joke. Like you need to listen to like what we're telling you, or you're gonna get someone else fucked up, or you're gonna get fucked up.
Yeah.
Or both.
Just Rudy's credit. He did that to me day one. He came in and was like, "This is not a fucking joke. Like this is none of what you expected." And he told me to hang on to Sal. Learn the guys via Sal because that was his platoon. But like that was sort of when you knew shit was real. You weren't rotating into a place where it was sort of laissez-faire. It was like, no, you're coming down here. You have a job to do, and you need to do it. There's no time off. There's no breaks. There's no transition time. It's A to B. You're flipping a switch. And I mean, to the credit of the platoon and the company down there, I mean, you guys were so squared away that it made the transition that much easier. Where I lacked, or in the time it took me to get Perez, I mean, shit, Tom, you were already on him. I think I got there and it was I put a SAM splint on him while you had a tourniquet already on him. So knowing that you could trust the other people around you, and you could count on everybody. You didn't have to rely on yourself. It made a huge difference in terms of confidence with the transition. I mean, I was taking over a platoon that Sal had. Sal, you were with them for what, a year at that point? Probably between garrison and deployment, at least a year.
Yeah.
Those aren't coming in as a new medic. Those aren't fun shoes to fill. You're not in garrison.
No, it's not easy to do.
Each other. I mean, you've got a guy who's relied upon and trusted and liked, and now you're going out and taking his place. So it's like, holy shit! Like I have to perform, or you're done.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's
how I was coming as a team leader, like a brand new team leader to a platoon that had been in combat for 4 months. And you come in and no one knew who the fuck I was because I came from 2-7, so I probably walked in the company, in the schoolhouse or whatever you want to call it. And they were probably all looking at me like, who the fuck is this guy? Like, where did whoever go, like this guy looks like a dick.
He knows a Bob Lindsay.
Yeah.
Lobster Friday. Screw you guys.
Oh shit, man. I remember going to CAF, like I think the first time, and they were talking about salsa night. I was like, what the fuck is going on? Like 3 hours down south, people are fucking dying. It's crazy. Like dirty uniforms.
So
everybody's got like nice uniforms.
You remember?
Like, what the fuck?
I think you were there, Sal. You were there too, Grace. When we went to the chow hall on CAF and they wouldn't let us in because our uniforms were dirty.
Yep.
Yeah.
Are you fucking serious? Like, we're actually out doing stuff, and you guys are walking around in PTs with like your M16 like slung behind your back with the little mag pouch on the buttstock, coming from salsa night with your PT belt.
Yeah.
And we're like, our pants are all ripped, and like there's people have like blood on their boots and stuff like that's been there for a month, and they look at you like, oh, you can't come in here.
Fucking
you're not one of us CAF people. Yeah, go back to your outpost.
Yeah.
Go back to your shrimp scampi.
They were giving me shit. They were giving me shit because they sent me to the fucking board, and I still had Luxmore's blood on my uniform.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
I believe it. It's just a total disconnect from like, and I think that's we've talked about it before, Curtis, about how our loyalties lie a lot more, I think, at least as far as that the point is concerned, with second ID as opposed to 164. Or not, maybe not 164, but third ID, because they were actually out there. Their leadership was out at Zangabad and Massamgar, and at least they were in the area. Like our leadership was sitting on their ass, and they were too scared to come out and visit us.
Well,
so
and if they did, that was only
there.
to try to take credit for what we were doing.
Did they ever
exactly.
go down? I don't remember
that?
seeing them. Like I don't remember seeing the battalion commander and the sergeant major coming down to Spruan.
Oh, they came down for award ceremonies and for stuff like that.
You don't remember that,
Yeah,
Dave?
whenever
Like,
somebody,
they would come in at the same time, and then they would like run to the formation. They were like elbowing each other back, like just to talk to us first. You don't remember that? Me and Rudy were like laughing our asses off about it, like talking about it afterwards. Like it was just a fucking game to them. Like they were filling up some like just some space they had to fill inside of a piece of paper.
But what's funny
speaking of medics, there's Hollers in the chat.
Hollers!
Oh, Hollers!
Come on, join in.
Join us.
Join in.
Where's Doan?
One of us.
He's getting the Prince Albert.
Oh, well, he has a little bit more than that. Have you ever seen it?
Thank God, no.
It's glorious.
His ladder.
Well,
yeah, he's got a.
I could have went the rest of.
He still got it.
Not knowing that, but thank you.
He was so proud of that shit, man. I was like,
oh yeah,
see that shit.
Yeah, I remember.
Is that like rings all the way down it or something?
I think it's barbells if I remember correctly.
What the fuck?
But I always remember because he had his nipples pierced, right? And he was like this older guy inside a platoon, and it would always be funny. Like it'd be cold as shit in Georgia, right? And he'd be bitching and moaning about how his nipples hurt because the fucking piercings were like cold. And he was always mad because he got taped, right? And they were like, "Oh, you got to take those out." You know, he's just like, "Well, I can't." You know, they're just gonna heal right up. You know, I'll be right back where I was at. He's just like, it was just so surreal seeing this old man argue about body piercings to like, just like this, just some like sergeant first class. It's like, I know this is fucking crazy, but I'm going to have to explain to you that you can't have pieces of metal inside of you when I do this. Like that's mind blowing.
Oh shit.
But it was, yeah. Where is Doe, man? Come on.
Hollers, I want to hear it from the horse's mouth.
Hollers is going to hop in. He's on vacation apparently, so I guess that's his excuse. But he is going to join in for a couple minutes.
That's good.
So Stuart had a question he typed into the chat. It was, and I don't think it applies to any of you, but we'll ask it anyway. Do you guys think your Army medical experiences made you choose a post-Army career outside the medical field? Oh, I didn't read it all the way. It does apply. Okay, elaborate.
I just got burnt out. I got burnt out seeing bodies, and I wanted to look at problems that I could fix and not have to, you know, I wanted to shut my brain down for a little bit and like kind of just do work in repetition, things that I could just move around and change without any real consequences. I picked a part-time job while I was going to college with the absolute least responsibility I could possibly get.
McDonald's.
So, no, it was even more than that. I'm a shuttle driver for a dealership, and all I do is like drive people around and deliver parts. And it's really funny because like I think I creep some people out because I'll just sit there like just drive, you know, and it's just like you're in the convoy, and for some reason people get weirded out when you don't say a word and you're in a car with them for like 15-20 minutes. So, whatever. yeah. Well, I mean, it has some really great things about it too. Like every once in a while, like we get to work on some of the local police departments Dodge Chargers. So like I'll have to test drive one of those, and I'll throw on some sunglasses and a ball cap. And I purposely try to like pull up to red lights where I can find somebody like texting on their phone, and I'll just turn my head and stare at them, and then they just like have the phone like this, and like and just slowly put it down, and then I just like race off.
Oh my god,
this is so great, man. Oh, I love abusing power. So it's just fun when nobody's hurt, obviously. So
sure.
But yeah, it's good. I wanted something where I didn't have to worry about people anymore. You know,
Sure.
I feel like I got filled up with all that stuff, and not that I couldn't handle it if I needed to, but I certainly don't want to go looking for it again. So
I agree with that.
Complete opposite. like after I got hurt and went to Walter Reed, I was trying to stay in. You know, I was trying to continue on, but they told me you'd never go to a line. You couldn't pursue flight medic. And I said, well, what the hell am I going to do as a medic? Change bedpans and put IVs in at Walter Reed? Like, I don't want that. That wasn't my career. I tried to get out, go to nursing school, but Voc Rehab said, you have a prosthetic, you know, you can't be on your feet 12 hours a day. We won't pay for that. So then I said, well, shit, my undergrad was in art. I've always had a, you know, sort of an inclining for working with my hands. So I said, fuck it, I'll go to furniture school. That was always like my Hail Mary, you know. So I did that for 3 years and, you know, transitioned to, you know, me doing my own thing. But I think the reason I was drawn towards that versus medical was it's very detail oriented, you know, a lot like, you know, in terms of medicine or treating people, it's very task oriented. You have to be precise. There's precision involved, and, you know, but you're independent, you're doing your own thing, you're not dealing with people. So the transition in terms of that type of work worked really well for me because it just fit my personality. But I feel like everybody, when you get out, you either go full blown medical or you get so so far away from the field, it's not even funny. There's not that many people that continue with that, you know, if that makes sense. I mean, how many guys from our platoon, medics wise, are now nurses? You know, they're RNs, or there's got to be half of them who got out and became RNs, and the other half are doing stuff that's so non-medical related it's not even funny. I think it just comes down to personality or experience in terms of what you do after or what your transition plan is.
Yeah, I mean, shit, I have my EMT still, but the only reason I still have mine is because I need it for fire. Like, that's it. I have no desire to work on an ambulance, to treat people. Like, I will if I have to, but like, I'm not gonna. If I had to go on an ambulance for the job, I'd probably leave and go somewhere else. But thankfully, with Wildland, you don't really have to do too much medical shit. So,
how's the research process for your EMT on the civilian sector? Because I know for us, it's just like, you get 72 hours and do some classes and that's it. You go for 2 years.
So it's National Registry is all the same. It's probably like what you're talking about. I need to do 36, I think, or 32 CEUs every 2 years, and then usually you have to do a refresher. But the refresher usually takes care of all of that, or it might be
it gives you CEUs. Okay.
Yeah. So what I had to do when I got out, because even when I was with you guys, I wasn't an EMT anymore. My cert had lapsed like for years. And I kept trying to get signed on, you know, while I was in to do like the refresher with the medics so I could try and get my cert back so I didn't have to do it when I got out. But no, it was hard because, you know, I went from, you know, working on the ambulance, doing, you know, interfacility transport, psych transport, and then 911. So I got a pretty good, well-rounded EMT experience. And then I did all the shit in the Army because I was a dummy and spoke up and said, I used to be an EMT. And they're like, here, carry this aid bag.
Dude, I was so glad though, man. I was so happy. I was like, carry this shit. You get some IV bags.
Yeah, and he helped us all around. He wasn't just with you and like out on missions. He was back in the aid station putting in work.
Lost connection there, but yeah. So it was good to be able to actually help and be enabled to help and to be trusted to as well. But as far as when I got out, I had to take the whole EMT class again. So I was sitting in EMT class with all these like 18, 19-year-olds who had never done medical shit before, except for one dude. He was a paramedic for a super long time. He's a paramedic for like 15 years. His cert lapsed, but he got a job offer to work on like Hollywood sets as an EMT. So he was going back to school for that. So me and him kind of sat together and we would talk and stuff. And luckily the instructors were pretty like sympathetic to where I was coming from. So they kind of gave me a break. I didn't have to do a lot of the homework. I didn't even have to do my ride time because there was only so many slots for ride time, which it's kind of fucked up. You're probably really supposed to do that. But they figured if anybody could afford to miss it, it was me and the former paramedics. They were like, just make up a run sheet for calls. Like, don't do anything crazy, but like just pull from experience and make one. And I was like, okay, cool. So, but it was hard sitting there in class, learning from like student teachers, learning from, people that had just worked like transport, and they're trying to tell me how to treat trauma. I'm like, I got that pretty dialed down at this point. If anything, I'm almost at the paramedic level as far as trauma goes. Because even in Afghanistan, they gave me fentanyl pops. I had a fast one in my bag. I had 14 gauge, 16 gauge, catheters. Saline bags, banana bags, quick clot, like all kinds of shit that I would never use in the civilian side. So. So it's hard, like sitting there sometimes, like listening to them talk, because you want to be like, but you have to like kind of shut up and just like let them do their thing.
Yeah, you're like, I've done that with something else.
Yeah. Can't talk
like,
about
it. You pour the fast one kit, like, oh, we don't do that here. Like, okay.
Yeah. Whoa.
Can one of you describe? I'm gonna nominate Dave to describe what a fast one is.
What? It's basically so you put it right in between right by the sternum, just to get a fluid access. So I don't know why you nominated me. So I've done a few of them.
Because you're an E7 and you're still in.
We did one together.
It's your pride. It's your pride.
I remember that guy that got blown up, and then tried to put a fast one and started like screaming. I told him to shut the fuck up.
Quit being a little pussy.
I think that's still on video. I was like, oh shit, what a dick. Yes.
You have no bedside manner. I'll give you that.
Yeah, sorry, man. You gotta do what
Isn't
you
that
gotta
funny?
do.
He's
man.
the one that advanced the farthest.
Yeah.
Shut the fuck up. Quit being a little bitch.
Oh shit! Every time I watch that video, I'm like, wow, what a dick. Fuck.
You're even a dick to Smothers. He's like trying his hardest. She's like, what the fuck are you doing? Do you even know what you're doing? he's like, shut the fuck up, Sal.
Oh yeah, he was so mad. Oh,
I remember when Clark got blown up and we started getting the fast one kit ready, and he was just like, no, not that, anything but that. And you were like, I'm sorry, man, sorry.
I love that.
Let me go. Let me die. I don't want it.
It's telling when like your leg is literally gone and you're more scared of. Well, here's why he's scared of it.
Yeah.
Describe it. Describe what it looks like, because like you didn't give it a full judge. You're like, oh, it's just something you put in your sternum. No, it's like how many needles?
7.
7 needles.
7. Yeah.
And there's one in the middle.
But
like
only
the big
6
one
of them are for. Yeah, 6 of them are for kind of just anchoring in, right? And then the one is what pushes.
Like
the
it
fluid,
goes in,
right?
and then
Yeah, it's a 7 needle thing. Like
you have a photo.
Have you ever seen a leech's mouth?
Do you have one?
Shit. It's in the car.
It's in
I
the
have one
car.
in the car too, actually. It's probably in the car, though.
Hey man,
That's like 5 feet away.
still works.
I've got an AC.
I may have
AC
acquired a
going in the
CLS
car.
bag.
Hold on, let me see if I can. I'm pretty sure it's in the car.
Go get it. Seriously.
Let me
You kind of
see.
look like you're in an aid station right now. Where are you?
I'm in the
garage.
I'm in the garage. Yeah.
I see your squat rack there. Can we see your muscular thighs? Have you been hitting hard?
I don't do leg
Still
days.
getting after it.
Wait, no,
Let me see.
we have to do that at the end so we can post it to the OnlyFans.
Okay.
Hold on, let me see. Yeah, I got one.
He's short in real life too. That door's is like a 6.5 foot door. Barely hits
Give me a second to
Hello.
reload, and I gotta go feed the dog real quick. All right,
All right.
I'll be right back.
See you in a sec.
Oh, buddy.
Uh-oh.
It's just us now.
Oh,
Stay.
crap.
Now there's only 1 minute to interview.
No, you're good. You're good. We have Tom.
So you treated Perez when he got shot, and then like you didn't. Did you treat anybody else until you got hurt? Akoa. Yep, Akoa.
Mhm.
And then there was
And then I think there was an Afghan.
before
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there was one at 3 Tank Hill who had to staple his head because he bumped it on something, but he didn't want lidocaine because he was scared of the needle.
Oh.
Yeah, I would have taken lidocaine personally. No, I was super fortunate in the fact most of the stuff that I did while I was out there was
little kids with infections or, you know, kids with cuts. It wasn't, I didn't have to deal with mass traumas, you know, to the extent that you would perceive, if that makes sense. Most patrols, you get rid of the weird skin infection, the guy who's got a deep cut, and you're just antibiotics, patching them up, you know, bandaging, etc. Whereas, you know, there was Perez was relatively serious. I mean, Tom had the tourniquet. It was pretty much tourniquet, splint, throw him in the back of a truck and drive him home. You know,
Right.
Coa had the ricochet or the round, whatever, in his forearm. Then we had the A&A guy, I think, who Sal treated, who fucking missed the bus and didn't even get on the helicopter. Idiot.
Yeah, I remember that. I'm done.
Fucking dope. And yeah, I mean, no, I was pretty fortunate in the sense that, like, even the stuff I treated early in the deployment was idiots who, you know, back at Luke, it was people with cuts or, you know, ran their feet. It was nothing, no combat trauma. It was all stupid little things any pediatrician could treat, you know.
Right. Well, then you then became yourself a patient. So
on your way to your first Moscow.
on your way to your first Moscow.
What was funny about that whole day is, and I believe it was Smothers. It was either Smothers or Sal. Minutes before that happened, we take the corner out of that grape row, out of that the little compound we were in. We're going down that road, and I said, "Somebody's gonna get fucked up. I have a bad feeling about this." Sure as shit, we hit the corner. They blow up, and I think I turned to Sal and said, "We got to get up there." And I took off running, and I blew up, and I actually thought it was Roberts. I thought Roberts blew up, and I was like, "Fuck, I have to get to Roberts." But I'm like, I can't get up. Why can't I get up? You know. So then I start kind of going, "Oh shit, I'm the one who stepped on it." You know? And then Robert's like big dopey dope. I mean, God, he's like a Saint Bernard puppy. Kid's nicest kid in the world, but he starts dragging me, and I remember telling him, "If you drag me over a fucking other one, I'll kill you." He goes, "Oh, we'll both be dead." I'm like, "Well,
well, that's not good."
Screw it. At that point, we got nothing to lose, right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it was, and I have most of it on helmet cam. Is the crazy part. Like everything up until about 30 seconds before I blew up was all on helmet cam.
Yeah. It's like it got overheated or something, right?
It just went out. Like,
yeah.
I have Roberts going into the intersection because I walked over with them, and then I walked back, and then my camera goes dead, and then 30 seconds later I blow up. So I mean, I don't know, perfect storm, I guess. Whatever, such is life.
Did I yell at you when I got to you? I don't know. I don't remember if I told you
Honestly,
you're supposed to fucking replace me.
I couldn't. What was weird about the whole thing was you were in the back most of it, right?
Yeah,
like you were in the trail, and I wasn't dead in the middle. So like when I blew up, I thought it was Roberts, and then like I don't know if I got knocked out or not because I couldn't tell you the time lapse. Like hindsight's 2020. Like initially I'm thinking, oh, I'm fine, but like, oh man, there was a lot of time where I don't remember what actually happened. I remember Mayo, Grace, and you, because you put a line in my arm, and then Mayo, I was like, give me some fucking water. Like, all I can taste is dust. Give me water. He's like, you're not supposed to drink. I'm like, give me the fucking water now. Like, I don't care. I'm not going to surgery. Like, I can't taste anything. There's just dust in every fucking crevice of your body. Mm-hmm. And then I remember getting put on the bird, and when I'm on the bird, you know, Russell, his what was left of his legs were towards my face, and I mean,
Goddamn flight medics.
That's my fault. I'm sorry. I loaded him.
Like, I thought Russell was legitimately dead. Like I remember grabbing his hand, took off, and I thought he was done, man. Like I just held his hand the whole time. Thank God he lived. You know, we landed in Kandahar, and they took him off first, and then they took me off. And they get you in the little, you know, triage room there, and they start fucking stripping you down naked, asking me who you are. And I just kept asking, you know, where's Russell? Where's Russell? Then I was out. And then when I woke up, it was actually General Abrams who was the first person I saw.
Oh, wow.
And I didn't realize it was General Abrams at the time. I'm like, where the fuck is Russell? He's still alive. And he's like, Staff Sergeant Dennison is alive. I'm like, holy shit, that's General Abrams. I'm like, oh my God, like here I am, like talking with General like that. No, the big thing was it's like
person I saw, and I remember like I reached down and I snagged my catheter and I was like ah, and I like screamed. And I remember looking over, and you looked at me, and you were like, "Did they give you a catheter too?" And we were getting in trouble in the hospital too.
Yeah, but your face was all fucked up. We're sitting there like trying not to take pain medicines. No, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it yet. Like, fuck. Zoe got his face blown off. Like, fuck him. Like, I'm not going to take one. And, oh, God, they gave
we
us
had our running competition.
But then that stupid idiot Corman came in, gave me my pack, had all the smokes in it. I was like, shit, dude, there's like 2 packs of smokes in here. You want to go smoke? Like, let's get out of here. Oh, man. No, I mean,
that nurse was pissed. Every time we would come back in the room because like you would like hop in the chair and we'd wheel out and we'd go out there and smoke a cigarette and then we come back in and she'd be like, "I told you, you can't leave. You're supposed to stay in here." And then she would point at me like, "You're not supposed to smoke cigarettes because your face is all messed up and you're gonna get an infection." And we were just like, whatever, like, fuck you.
No, but I mean, Kandahar was crazy. Like they walk in and just give you a set and they say, "Take it as long as you want. Call whoever you want." Like,
yeah,
what the fuck am I gonna call? Like, my wife just had a kid 2 weeks prior. My brother had just gotten home. Literally, he was deployed at the same time. He got home 5 days before, 6 days. Third group. So it's like, who am I gonna call? Like, what am I supposed to say to people? So I called my dad. You know, he's still working. Like, why the hell are you calling me from like a 10,000 number? I'm like, well, funny you should ask that, Dad. Like, here I am in the hospital.
Some things went down.
Yeah. He's asking me like, "So how you doing?"
No, but I mean, it was legitimately a solid 10 hours, you know, after I'd spoken to my wife that I had gotten hurt before the Army.
Wow.
You know, so
yeah,
they
same
called
with me.
Yeah. I was on my way to Wagram while they were trying to book her flight to Walter Reed, and then I had an infection while I was in Germany, and they were trying to figure out whether to fly her to Germany or not. You know, I mean, the baby, Angus was only 2.5 weeks old at the time, maybe. So they were trying to figure out passports and how to do it, and then they flew me home. I mean, I made it home in probably 7 or 8 days, 8 or 10 days maybe. You know, I made it stateside October 11th, so I guess that's 8 days.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
I mean,
you were fast, man. You were on your feet pretty quick too.
But I got lucky. Like, honestly, like, it was a pretty, of all the things to get blown off, I think I got the luckiest in terms of getting blown off. I got lucky in the sense that I wasn't a bed rat, if that makes sense. There's some guys that just want to sit and feel bad for themselves. Like, I got home, my brother was there, you know, third group gave him a month of free leave just to be at the hospital with me.
Oh, wow.
So I had family immediately right there, and I had a newborn baby. Like, I didn't want to be a piece of crap, you know. Like, I got home the 11th. On the 14th, I had to get a blood transfusion because I tried to crutch all the way from my hospital bed to physical therapy, and I passed out. So they had to give me like 4 units of blood.
God damn it, man.
So like the Monday of Thanksgiving, I had a prosthetic and I was walking. I mean, walking in the sense that I could put it on for an hour and move with a cane or, you know, a walker. Like,
Robot.
But by that March, man, like, I was playing lacrosse again. Like, I was playing in a men's league, like, in D.C. You know, the following fall, I did the Marine Corps Marathon, the Army 10-miler, the Air Force. Like, it just, for me, it was having a baby, being 24 at the time? You know, 24, like, I had a lot of external factors that sort of pushed me to get through it. You know, you didn't have time to feel sorry for yourself. You couldn't afford to feel sorry for yourself. You know, you had too many guys around you that were either worse off than you or mentally worse off than you. So you couldn't put yourself in a position to be that guy. You know, you roll down the hallway, you got Clark, you know, missing half of his hand and his leg. And then you got Hedrick, who is in his own sense. You know, you got Russell, who's a double fucking BK the next door down. You know, you got his family. So, you know, having those guys so close and having their families and those support systems helped keep my family motivated too. You know, Russell's wife, Sam, they had a baby who was probably, I want to say Ellie was maybe a year old at the time. So, you know, she helped Alice a lot. They became friends. So there was, it was a lot of mutual support, you know, at the hospital trying to push people through. And if it wasn't for that, I honestly couldn't tell you where I would have been a year out, 2 years out. If that was to happen to me as a civilian, I don't know if I'd have as positive of an outcome as I did now, you know, like, it's just a different world. But I mean, first person I met in the hospital was Travis Mills, quadruple amputee, walks into my room the day after I get there. Says, what the fuck's wrong with you? I'm like, I got one blown off. He's like, yeah, I got all 4 of mine blown off. What the fuck? I'm like, holy shit. Like, what? You know, so, I mean, you see these guys at physical therapy every day. Those guys are there. You get there at 7 a.m. You don't leave till 10:30. You're just, I mean, you're doing it until you literally can't move anymore. So you're either driven or you're not. And the guys that tend to succeed coming out of Walter Reed either have big personalities or they've got a big drive, you know, and I've seen a lot of the guys via Facebook or, you know, whatever years later that didn't have that drive or don't have that personality. I don't want to say suffer, but definitely don't prosper to the same extent as other people, if that makes sense. I mean, it's sometimes difficult to watch, but I mean, you got to have the right stuff around you to thrive afterwards. So, I mean, between having good support from, you know, the Bravo guys and to the family and the guys around me, it made it easy. You know, I mean, look at Russell now. I mean, shit.
He's a beast,
he's like squatting like 400 fucking pounds.
So basically, all the fat amputees.
I can't even do that.
It's just personal drive, man. You know, it's like guys who get out with you know mental issues. It's do you have the personal drive? Do you have the will to get over it? You know, do you have that X factor? It's tough. I mean, I'm not gonna lie and say there wasn't days where I'm going. 2 years ago, I was a college athlete. I was playing lacrosse. You know, I was living the big life. And now I can't even fucking walk down the hallway without hurting. You know, I can't wake up without being in pain, or there's no swelling or there's infections. Like, there's days where you go, why me? You know, I'm 24, 25. Like, why is this? I couldn't have been the other guy, or why wasn't it him? You know, but at some point, you just got to say, the cards are dealt. Pick up the pieces and move on. You know, like
it is what it is.
It is what it is, man. Like, what are you gonna do? You're gonna cry about it? You're gonna dwell on it? You're gonna get mad at Sal for not being the medic in front? Like, what am I supposed to do? I can't finger at somebody. I made a decision.
Maybe a little bit.
No, but I mean, like,
yeah. No, I know. I understand what you mean.
You don't wish it on somebody else, but sometimes you got to go. You know, you play the "why is me" card, but hey, man, you're dealt the cards. You got to handle them or you don't. You pick up the pieces and move on, or you don't. And I got 2 kids, a wife, and a pretty good situation, so you pick up the pieces and move on. I don't know.
Who do you think would win in a burlap sack race? Like if you and Salvador were paired together and each had to have like one leg in the burlap sack, you know, would you cheat a little bit and have the blown up leg in that sack so you can just like scurry along real quick and just get to the cross finish line?
My right leg has such diesel thighs and calves right now. We would smoke.
You can't use your tink leg. You have to use like a regular.
Dude, I wouldn't even use it.
Yeah, that's an unfair advantage.
Yeah, it's an unfair advantage.
Dude, I'm a ninja on one leg. You can't even carry me in the house. Popping upstairs like, what's that? It's not dad. No, it's ninja.
We had
it's just Todd as a slinky, and it's him going up and downstairs.
What's that, Tom?
We had the Z6 and 2.7. We had the Z6 and 2.7 who lost his leg, and he had the running leg. And it's funny because he would do he'd do PT with us, and someone would fall out of the run, and he would get like right up in their face and be like, "I have one fucking leg. Like, you better get back up there." and he would just like make them feel like shit, dude. He would just rag on these dudes. But he was like that. He was like fucking jacked, like you said, like fucking diesel, dude, just ripped. But one leg, but it's funny him just yelling at all the fat bodies and stuff all down the run. So
you know what's funny about that? It's like the Boston Marathon happened in, what was that, 2013?
Yeah, right afterwards.
So 2013 happens, and they bring most of those amputees down to Walter Reed, and they start NBC News or some fucking news sources there, and they start interviewing people, and they try to interview a guy, and he looks at him and he goes, "You call those motherfuckers heroes?" He's like, "They're in the wrong place, the wrong time. Look around you. These are guys." And I mean, the NBC News crew even went like completely white and like, yeah, what kind of questions are we asking here right now? It just, when you're at Walter Reed, you're a guinea pig, man. Like, I know guys like I got treated for certain pain management, and there's other guys that get treated, they overdose them on ketamine and try to withdraw them to see if it can stop phantom pain later down the road. There's guys they hype up on ibuprofen and then hit them with morphine to see what you're at the mercy of whatever they're trying to figure out, long-term side effects on. But you also, because it's such a state-of-the-art facility, all the marathon people come down there. You get all these random, 1 in a million injuries down there. So it's like a science lab rehab. So it's absolutely crazy the stuff they do down there. I mean, the prosthetics are 3 to 5 years ahead of the civilian market easily. And, when you transition to that civilian world, I mean, I'm still wearing the same leg from 5 years ago. I was at Walter Reed, and it still hasn't caught up to the civilian market yet. And then
You're one of the few people that can say, you're one of the few people that can say that the United States government has put you into a K-hole. Understand?
Yeah, but I mean, it's a different world, I mean, life is it's very different, in terms of rehab or functionality or mental mindset. I see a lot of guys back here that I knew who I grew up with, or for instance, like even my brother, they don't have the same support system in terms of mental awareness. Or he did 100 times more than I did. I mean, he was with third group SF. They were in the Congo. They did a bunch of stuff they weren't supposed to be doing. And what support does he get? Nothing. I get support because I got my leg blown off. You know what I mean? So it's just a very difficult. It's a weird obstacle to function sometimes. I mean, look at Burner. Burner, you did what, 3 or 4 deployments, and you saw shit in every deployment. It wasn't like you had a cake deployment. What helped you?
There were some problems going into this last one that, like, I probably shouldn't have. They were questioning me on my second one because there was I don't know what the statute of limitations is, but I had developed a drinking problem and then had experimented with a few pharmaceutical substances between my first and second deployment. And then I realized there was a big problem, and then I tried to fix it. And then the second deployment happened. And then after that, then you start running into a routine as far as what your baselines are. Cause they're shifted. There's it was the first time I ever in my life I understood what a functional alcoholic was. I remember going to motor pool and hey, Monday morning, ounce of whiskey, 2 Cokes, knock those back, do the PMCS. By lunchtime, I'm good to go back to the barracks, have a couple of 7 and 7s, get all nice and loose, get ready for training, And it was just I don't know if it was just a climate thing or the culture thing, but I mean, I just remember getting done with PT and immediately just lighting up cigarettes and then starting drinking, and then it just wouldn't stop until, and it only got it ramped up to deployment. But as the guys that got more and more seasoned, and me personally, it just felt you're rolling the dice every time. So it's just there's a small thing that builds up inside that I didn't know was there until it broke, and then it was oh God, there's a real problem. So now I'm afterwards, I'm so much more aware of my own personal behavior, my actions, yeah. It is what it is.
You still drink?
I do, but it's not every day. I don't have to do it every day. I don't feel like I need a substance like I did before. When I was in the service, it felt like I just, you always need something. I need a cigarette. I need a cup of coffee. I need a, glass of whiskey. You always need something. I'm looking for the next, your life was broken down into a set of moments where you were just looking for the next best thing. You're just moving to the next cookie, the next piece of pie, the next orgasm, the next, you know what I mean? It could be anything. So at least that's the way I dealt with it. Gotcha. I made my world as small as possible. So I don't know. I had did you guys ever have any pre mission rituals?
I would say obviously smoke a bunch of cigarettes. I'd usually make sure all my stuff was lined out, and then I actually had a little gift sent to me by some family. I had a bunch of shooters. So every once in a while, I'd take a little shooter before we go out on mission to kind of take the edge off.
Fucking burn.
Especially like later in the deployment, you know, we would like. I feel like later in the deployment too, they started kind of overloading us with missions. You know, they would. I don't think they really trusted to send some of the other platoons out because they were having problems. You know, kind of keeping their shit together, and we were one of the only platoons left that was still going out all the time, and you know, yes, it got stressful. So I think you kind of have to have like your little thing to kind of get you through. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm not going out like out the wire drunk or nothing, but every once in a while, or when I would come back, as soon as I would come back from mission, I went back. But or even like, you know, we were lucky to have a resource like I always say his name wrong, but like Captain Cottrell. It's one of those two. It's a Cottrell.
He was like an endless supply of good energy. Like there's like good surfer dude energy coming from him all the time.
Yeah. And he was like one of those dudes. Like I remember one night I had a hard time. I think it was after low crawl day. And I remember sitting there talking to him, and he talked to me for like 2.5 hours. You know, just he didn't have to do that, you know, and it was late. I mean, he stayed up with me till like midnight talking to me, and he's got a million other things he's got to do, but he actually gives a shit. And, you know, and at the end, he was like, you know, like, do you have anything going on tonight or tomorrow? And I was like, no. And he was like, all right, I'll be right back. And he came out and he gave me 2 Valium. And he was like, take one tonight, you know, kind of get your head right, and then hold on to one. And if you need one later, it's there. And if you ever need to talk, you know, come back and talk to me.
Yeah.
You know,
I don't want to take away your steam, but part of the reason why he talked to you that long that night was because we had made a tape outline of a penis and balls above his bed and glow in the dark tape. So when it got dark, that's all he would see as he closed his eyes.
Oh shit!
So that's why he was out
Right
there.
by
He
his
was out
bed,
there trying
big old dick.
He was waiting for me to bore him to death.
Oh,
there he is.
Look who we found.
What's going on, dudes? What are you guys up to?
What's up, dude? Throwing a cold one back there, I see.
Jesus Christ.
Dude, you have a crossbow on the wall?
Yeah, where are you?
I'm in Pennsylvania.
That's a
right
pretty
now.
metal fucking room, dude. You have a deer head and a crossbow.
Yeah, I'm at my grandparents' house.
Oh, okay.
Hell yeah.
Pretty legit. Yep.
Some real red-blooded Americans over there.
Hell yeah.
How you been, man? It's been a while.
Been fucking busy. What have you guys been up to? Burner, what have you been up to? I haven't talked to you since 2012.
Okay, so between then, I went to Korea. They were fucking stupid enough to make me a platoon sergeant for the medics.
Dude, who made that soon? That was so bad.
After that, they sent me to Fort Riley, where I did public health and drug my feet through like the 2006 flu campaign. Nice. And then they put me into the emergency room for like the last like couple months of my time in the military. And since then, I've been going to college for this like wildlife ecology and business minor smashed together. And then, obviously I'm still holding on to your medium rucksack. I don't know if you know that or not.
Did you pay for that shit?
$284.
Pay for it.
Yeah, you probably had to pay for it at CIF.
Oh shit, you have my ABAG? Dude,
I got your medium rucksack.
$800 to get out of the army because all my shit was in that Connex and they just rat fucked that shit. And I had to pay. Man.
Yeah, he did the same shit to me too.
Mm-hmm.
After I got fucked up, they came in and people went through all my shit and they took all my stuff. It's like, you motherfuckers, man. And then I went to CIF. Yeah, they even took my bayonet coin. And
I hope whoever has that ABAG, I hope whoever has that ABAG knows that Lily and Pinnock's, either Lily or Pinnock's leg was in that ABAG that night. So all that blood that's in the bottom of it, if there's still stains, that's where that came from. So
I'm sure someone's
I hope whoever has that ABAG knows that.
You had a London Bridge, right?
I don't know what it was, honestly.
Okay.
It was nice though. Salvador, what have you been up to?
Still in the army, man.
No, so you're not making the right decisions.
For his service.
Yeah, I know you're doing, Grace. I know you're doing, Tom. Todd, how you been?
Drinking beers, man. Living the dream.
Same. Right, same. You finished building your freaking shed or barn or whatever.
Barn.
It's a big ass barn. It's 24 by
You know
36.
Be me a clown. It took me years to make.
Nice. Yeah, I got rid of all social media, so I have no idea what anybody's doing.
What do you do with your bar now? Do you just store your junk in it?
My barn? No, the first floor
Yeah.
I got a bunch. I got my tractor, my Ranger down there, and the kids' wheelers, and then upstairs is my office for the business. So it's just a place with couches to drink beer and do paperwork.
Nice.
It's sweet. What are you doing, fucking Colby?
So tell them about your job. I was trying to explain it. I was saying you were doing industrial hygiene.
Yeah, I'm an industrial hygiene
That's about as far as I know.
I go to power plants, I go to mines, I go to manufacturing, freaking shit going on. I do personal exposures, I test building materials for asbestos or lead. I sample to make sure people aren't being overexposed to certain chemicals or elements. So basically, it's just safety and keeping people safe without actually dealing with patients. So
I worked with dudes in public health. They did the same thing.
Yep.
Yeah, they tested like noise, sound levels, air quality, water quality. I mean, everything.
Yep. Soil. Yep. That's what I do. That's what I did. I went to University of Arizona for public health, and I realized it's just all safety focused, and it's literally the guy saying, "Hey man, where's your gloves? Where's your iPro? Hey man, where's your freaking hard hat, man?" And I'm just
the safety guy.
Dude, yeah. And I love
knife hand them?
like, hey,
are you
man,
like
it's X, Y, and Z. Why are you guys doing A, B, and C? What are you guys doing? Are you guys dumb? Yeah, you guys are dumb. All right, well, let me help you.
Was that a Bud Heavy?
No, that's a Yingling.
That's a Yingling, dude. That's a man's beer right there.
I didn't even know that beer Yingling.
Hey,
I
Todd,
actually
are you
got
still drinking PBR?
I found it on.
Dude, I drink fucking Bud. I drink diesels. They're cheaper than anything else. Fucking hipsters drink PBR, all right? When all those
I know they ruined it. They ruined it for all of us.
For people like me.
You know, if you pull your hair back in a man bun, though, you would look like a hipster. You just have to get some real thick black frame glasses.
Todd, you were a hipster. When you came to the medical town, you were a hipster.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
100%. PBR and everything. Listen to
skinny jeans and flannels.
Yeah, there you go. Flannels.
I've never owned a pair of skinny jeans in my life. My calf muscles are bigger than fucking Colby's face.
True. That is true.
Skinny jeans were never a part of my repertoire. Flannels, yes.
It's just flannels.
That's just a New England thing, right?
I was just a fucking redneck. I drank PBR because it was cheap.
Yeah. Good times.
Colby.
And bad times.
Some
really bad times, but we'll not talk about those.
So that was one thing. Everybody else kind of answered it. Did your experience as a medic drive you further away from the medical field?
Absolutely.
Would you say? Yeah.
Yep.
Without a doubt. Yes.
Yeah, and that's why I went to public health, because you're not dealing with patients, you're not dealing with one-on-one. It's like broad things, and more of exposures, and the long-term effects, not immediate. Like, hey man, shit's going down right now. No, thank you. Done it,
and
cool with it.
Another thing too, why did you become a medic?
Well, I was in Germany, and when I graduated high school in 2008, the financial crisis hit. I was like, well, I can't just pick up and go back to the United States and just pick a state and try to start there. So I was like, grew up in a military family. I was like, well, I'm going to end up going in the military. Sure enough. It was either, oh, stupid. Let me back up some. So my dad's he retired as a W-5 as a pilot. So I had an opportunity to become a pilot, but I was too stupid to realize I had the opportunity and like the golden ticket to learning from a freaking, rock star. He was, right. So I was like,
W-5 is like a
unit. Generals around, right?
Oh yeah, he flew General Ordinero around Iraq. We were in Iraq together. We actually ran into.
Yeah, I remember. There's a picture of you guys. Yeah.
Yeah. My family wasn't happy when me and him were both in Iraq together. But he actually came down to Lieutenant Colin Blunt's funeral or their memorial service. It was nice to see Mosul. But yeah, I knew I was like, man, I can't go to the United States, so just going to join the military. I'm either going to go infantry, tanker, or medic. And guess what? I go to freaking 164 as a medic and start out as a tanker medic, and then become the senior medic of Bravo Company there, and come back. And I got to do everything I wanted to, I guess.
Handsome.
Handsome, yes. Yeah.
Handsome.
Yeah. So yeah, I've been with Bravo Company for a hot minute. Yep. Burner, remember me and you doing freaking guard duty in the very beginning of Palapa? Dude, dude, that was not. I shouldn't even been up there. And they're using the raid camera to see if we're smoking or not.
Yeah. Not worried about anybody attacking the base. Don't worry about that.
Ridiculous.
I remember being so cold that when we shit in those wag bags, like you held it in your hands and you were like, "Oh, that's so nice."
Dude, I just wanted to burn all the shit and burn all the trash because I got to play with fire and keep warm. Living in those freaking tents.
Yeah.
So yeah, going to Sparing Guy, I was like, "What do you mean we have a building? Oh, this is freaking concrete? Oh hell yeah! This place is amazing."
We're not. Yeah.
We're no longer in the middle of nowhere. Legitimately, in the middle of nowhere by ourselves. Actually, have some support. So yeah.
Do you remember that? You remember that checkpoint you guys drove through with those tanks?
I think all right. I'll keep.
Let's just stop a little whatever war crimes that might come up, but
I have to. Yeah, there's. Let's just keep this on. Not talk out loud.
We're live.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know. There's a couple of things I got to be careful. Yeah.
So I got a good question for you guys.
Yeah.
So what advice would you guys give to people considering being a medic, or even the young medics out there right now that are just getting started?
Don't do it.
Don't do it.
No, but for real, like, I mean, I think the guys in here can attest to it. There are guys who are meant to be medics, personality-wise, drive-wise, and mentally, and there are guys that don't have a pot to piss in. I don't know how the hell they passed the school. I don't know why. It's as much as you have to be proficient medically, you also have to be proficient socially. You have to be able to read the room, understand who your guys are, who needs what, who you can fuck with, who you can't. There's a lot more than being able to put a tourniquet on and start an IV. It's tough. I mean, it's tough. Like I was a fucking art major and I became a medic. Like, did I think I would do it? No. But some people look at fucking Burner. Like, Burner is one of the guys that I don't know anybody who dislikes Burner on the line. In the medical platoon, there are people who be like, "Oh, Burner's an asshole. He's too serious. He's a dick."
What are you talking about? I'm not
He was awesome, man.
The finger at you, buddy. But I mean, like, at the end of the
day, Rivera fucking loved you, bro.
That fucking sucking piece of shit motherfucker.
Whoa.
No, I don't care. You can swear on me. That turd fucking circle jerked his way to the top. He doesn't even know what a tourniquet looks like or how to put one on, yet he's a fucking E6 or E7 in the Army right now because he knows the right people and does the right things. Rivera, your best friend, Colby.
Callers, did you ever hear about the conversation that I had with Rivera after you got drugged through training with your bag that almost filled up with your blood?
Oh, dude! I was so mad, dude. Being stuck at that aid station when they're like, "Oh yeah, you're leaving. Oh, by the way, we're gonna keep you here for a while," and then Todd, you freaking get back to the United States before I get back to the United States. I'm stuck there doing like this training stuff. Well, first, this is how. Okay, so I wasn't sleeping, and so I talked to whoever our freaking PA was.
Yo, Major Lee.
Yeah, and I was like, dude, I can't sleep, and he gave me blood pressure medication. And so I laid down, and I was doing the night shift, so no one would just leave me alone. I'll just deal with the night stuff. And I took one of those pills, and I lay down, and my heart rate skyrocketed to like over 200 beats per minute. And I was like, oh, I'm about to die. Shit. And so I stood up, and I was trying to just get out of that tent, and I passed out right at the door. Rivera actually caught me. And he drove me to the aid station, and I was fucked up. And they got me on like the EKG and so that was like, all right, that was my first taste of like, what's going on here? Something's not right. And so that, I think it was that same week, they were doing some training, and I was with the casualty because I'm like, I don't need to do this training. I'm getting out of the Army right now. I don't need to do this training. I've already done it all. And they put an IV and they like load me up in the freaking their MRAP, and they put I think it was Wong. He put the freaking IV bag behind my head, and they didn't freaking close it. And so I was like, oh, I feel fucked up. And they're done with the thing. They pulled up, and the whole bag is full of my blood. And I'm like, oh, that's why I feel fucked up. And so they bring me to the aid station. It becomes like kind of like real world. Like, oh, okay, wait a minute. What is this dude vitals at? And so like they get me hooked up, and I'm like basically down to my chonies, just laying on the thing. And then they start doing like a AAR, and I'm like, all right, hold on, I'm still a patient here, and you guys have like left me. I'm like, what is happening? I was so mad the entire time I was there, and I took the helmet cam footage when Boyce got shot, and I was trying to show like, here, watch this go down, and can anybody tell me what I did wrong? Like, what did there's a major thing I did wrong in that whole thing with Boyce. Can anybody tell me what it was? Well, I was playing the helmet cam footage, and there was somebody in the aid station, I'm leaving names out, who passed out watching that footage. I was like, oh my God.
What?
I'm so glad that the people that made it to Sparengar are the people that
there wasn't even any blood in that. Like, it was the
Yeah,
cleanest wound ever.
Dude.
And I was like, couldn't stay on the side of his wiener.
It was embarrassingly small compared to his gigantic balls.
I don't actually remember because I was too busy looking for an exit wound that wasn't there.
Grapefruit.
It never fails. If you're injured, like, it is the smallest it's ever going to get.
Oh yeah.
Like when they cut it off, like when they cut all your clothes off, that's the tiniest your dick will ever be.
Trust me, guys. I know. I know. I'm fucked up, but trust me.
It's how it is. It's meant to be. I'm a grower, not a shower.
Yeah, that was
That's like everybody says, hey, I'm a grower.
Yeah. Well, I guess if your blood is going other places, it stands to reason it's definitely not going there.
Yeah.
So the night that we heard that about you, that training accident about you, I called back to the aid station, and Mutters, God bless him, he picked up the phone, and I had just made sergeant or whatever it was, and so like I had the phone in my ear. He picks up. He's like, "Hello, this is the 164 aid station. How can I help you?" Those Mutters being his sweet, his adorable self.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is special. This is Sergeant Berger, and I just laid into him. I was like, what's the highest ranking person you have right now inside the aid station? And Rivera picked up the phone. And I berated him for it was 10 minutes, it felt like. And then I at the end of it, I threatened his life. And then I slammed the phone down. And then Captain Kitching and First Sergeant Collin walked in and is everything okay in here? I'm like, it's fine. We're okay.
Everything's good. Internal matters.
Mommy and Daddy were just talking.
Wait, Colby, when you back to
I told him, I was like, listen, I'm gonna come back there, and if he's hurt at all, I'm gonna fucking kill everyone. Do you understand that, right? Like everyone. It's just gonna be fucking scorched earth.
So Colby, when you were back at Lindsay, was Rivera on his fucking super gay streak about doing CrossFit and whatever that?
Yes.
Yeah.
They're in the back, they're in the back doing that shit all the time.
So when I was there, he was like, "You want to be a sergeant? You gotta do the P90X with me every day at 5:00. Manning does it every day, and she's gonna get promoted." I'm like, I don't have time for this shit. Give a fuck.
You tell me hey, I don't do that. I do Taibo. We do jazzercise here.
I really think they're just really waiting for me to leave. I wasn't having it there. I just wanted to leave, man. Just let me go, man. All
right, guys. Before we wrap it up, we're gonna go one question all around. Just one piece of advice, or one reflection on your experience as a medic, and then we'll pass on. Then we're gonna wrap it up. So we'll start with Alex. Any introspection, piece of advice, any kind of last nugget of truth about being a medic?
know that your actions have long-standing consequences that affect people and families that you don't even know about. And whatever you think about them, I would say that consider they're more often better than worse.
That's good.
I
Calvin?
think for me, oh, go ahead, Calvin.
Oh no, please, Sal, you cut right now.
Sal, go.
Yeah, go ahead, Sergeant. Sorry, Sergeant.
Yeah.
Oh, shit. I think for me, you just gotta get your head right? Like, you just gotta stay ready, so you don't have to get ready. Just definitely get your head right, because things will happen. You're gonna have to do your job, right? And just like Bernard said, it's gonna be long-term effects if you can't fucking function. Just like that one dude that just froze, had his aid bag laid all over the place. He was a really good garrison medic, but downrange, I don't know what the fuck happened, right? So yeah.
You're not talking about me, are you?
No. No, you got you. No. Another dude. It was the other guy. I think he was in Charlie. Was he attached to Charlie? It was when the ANA guys fucking, when we did like a halt. I think it was during right before Lily got blown up, I think. And the ANA guys drove, like, I think we were like sleeping, and then I thought we got hit by mortar, but it was the ANA guys running over like an IED with their Humvee, and then it was like shit all over the place. I remember looking at Hewitt. He was like, "Oh my god, we're getting mortared." Like, no, it's just the ANA guys. And there was like another medic from the other platoon. He was with 164. I think he was with Charlie Company. And I remember going there, looking at him like, "What the fuck are you doing?" He was already treating like 2 or 3 guys, and I was like, he just froze. I'm like, what is going on? I started yelling at him. I don't know. Maybe I was being a dick. I don't know.
Yeah, that probably didn't help.
What are you doing?
But hey, man, he got his CMB. I looked at. I saw him back in garrison. I was like, take that shit off, man. It's fucking disgrace.
I love it.
I'm sorry.
I love you, Sal. All right, what do you got? What do you got, Colby?
Somebody else. I'm still trying to think of somebody.
All right, Todd.
No, I mean to echo, both Sal and Berner. It's when you do your job, it's not about you. It's not about those guys. The extent of what you do and your proficiency extends far greater than what your moments are. So if you want to be a medic, or you want to be a good medic, you really need to understand your craft, because everything you do, the ramifications far exceed the guy you're treating. So it's a heavy responsibility and a very important job. So it's not an easy task. So whatever you do to that job, you really need to dedicate yourself to do what you need to do and be okay with doing it, if that makes sense.
Cool. All right, it's to you, Haulers.
I'd say for advice, like Todd said, learn your craft. You can literally make or break certain situations. You either save or don't save a teenager with a toy gun, and that changes everything for a whole village or whole town. Or you're in very intimate moments, and you can, like I said, you can make or break entire lives, entire families. You can change the outcome and timeline for entire generations by whether you studied or not, or if you feel you're proficient or not, or if you're just faking the funk. Like, you only know yourself. Because when you're in your first couple casualties and you find yourself, oh man, can I do this? What am I supposed to do now? That's not the right answer. You should be able to be in your, as much as I wish it was like this, your first couple casualties, you should be like, oh, I got this. This is easy.
Right.
A lot of that comes with experience. But I mean, freaking put the work in, and it pays off in the long run.
Cool.
Tom, be dedicated. Be dedicated.
Be dedicated. I like it. Tom, you kind of have a crossover of experiences, medical and as a leader. So we'll let you close it out, and then we'll say farewell.
Well, I'd say, I just echo what they say, knowing your craft. And then I would say, as someone who kind of straddled both sides of the fence for that deployment, I think it's really important for medics to get to know their guys, and really kind of assimilate with the platoon. Because, they look at you like they call you doc for a reason. They think that you can save them from anything, and they put a lot of trust in you. So you have to turn around and put a lot of trust in them too, and get to know them.
Yep.
I think that goes a long way. And when they're sitting there bleeding and they see you come, it's better for them to be comforted, no matter what the outcome of that is, whether they make it or they don't, as opposed to be like, oh fuck, this is who's treating me. Like, I think that's just really important. And I think all you guys did a phenomenal job of doing that too. Yeah, no, you're good. Go ahead.
I would also say learn the craft of whoever you're assigned to. Okay, so as we all know, as medics, you go to wherever they tell you to. All right. Hey, I learned how to be a tanker. My first time I was ever on a tank was in Iraq. Okay. So
you look
at crash course. So, and then by the time that second deployment, you have that competency of, hey, I can take 2 privates from this infantry platoon, and we can go in this direction and secure this area. Even though I'm the medic, I can still, I know what they're supposed to be doing. They have enough trust in me to even move some infantry dudes with them. You know what I'm saying? Like, learn the craft of who you're assigned to as well. Be proficient in your medic skills as well as whoever you're with, because they're going to look at you and be like, oh, not only does he know his medic stuff, he knows our stuff. Oh, okay. This dude knows what he's doing. That's super so important.
Yeah. Because
you're a rifleman with an aid bag.
Exactly. It's the first
whether you like it or not.
First step of casualty care is to finish the gunfight, right?
That's right.
Yes.
So,
yes.
Yep. Well, guys, thank you so much. I really appreciate everyone coming in. We had quite the crowd. I hope Rudy made good money and tips on the poll tonight. So
sure he did.
But thanks to those of you that have already done your interviews. Great. To everyone else, we'll be reaching out in the future. But thank you so much for joining, and thanks to everyone who tuned in.
Yeah, thanks for
all right, guys.
Thank you. Nice seeing you guys.